Public service announcements. 6:35, we have a public hearing, liquor license for Sawdust Cafe. 7 o'clock, we have a public hearing, transfer of liquor license, Fred's Variety. 7:30, we have a public hearing, logging permit, 177 Podunk. 8 o'clock, another public hearing for a logging permit at 176 Podunk. Then we have a joint meeting with the Tantascwa School Committee for an appointment. Then we have several one-day liquor license applications. We have appointments, and we have a few resignations to approve. We have department reports from the Police Department, Town Administrator. We have a few action items under the Town Administrator's report. Then we have old business, new business, correspondence, approval of minutes of September 16th, Citizens Forum, and then we will adjourn. Priscilla, any public announcement?
No.
Chase?
No.
Mike?
No.
Mary?
No.
I just have a couple. The Sturbridge Rec is sponsoring a trip to New York City, December 14th, 7 a.m. It leaves from Burgess Elementary School parking lot. You get into New York and you'll be on your own. Departure for home will be 6:30. For reservations, you can get in touch with the Sturbridge Recreation Department. Also, the Sturbridge Community Bonfire has been postponed because of the EEE, and it's postponed tentatively to October 24th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., pending whether we are out of the affected areas. Also, the same goes for trick-or-treating. People have asked me about trick-or-treating. We normally do it October 31st, 5 to 7, and then the parade. But again, that will depend on the EEE threat.
Could I request that you get the volume a little louder so I can hear you?
Oh, excuse me, Ray, we don't have, these mics are for the people at home. We'll try to talk louder, okay? Sorry about that. Okay, well, it's not quite 6:35. So we can squeeze something in. Does anybody have a quick thing? We do have the Boston Cane Proclamation. Do you want to read that?
If I can find it.
I know. Every time we change our schedule, lose things.
163.
239.
Okay, I've got it.
239.
239.
You want me to read it? Or do you want to read it?
Oh, I can read it now.
Okay.
Okay. This is a proclamation for the oldest citizen in town, and it says, whereas the town of Sturbridge is home to a citizen aged 101 years, whose experiences and wisdom connect us to the past and help us meet the challenges of the future, and whereas the older citizens of the town of Sturbridge are representative of an unprecedented trend in the nation's demographic makeup, and whereas older persons are diverse, respected citizens who continue to contribute to our nation's social and economic well-being as they live longer, healthier, and more productive lives, many even starting second careers. And whereas, as America grows older, each community must strive to understand and address the evolving challenges and needs of our older citizens and the people who care for them. And whereas the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead require us to think differently about health and long-term care and to work together to ensure that older Americans can age strong, long, and with dignity. And whereas the town of Sturbridge wishes to celebrate and honor Cecile Hewitt of Worcester County and to encourage her to age strong, live long. Now therefore, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Sturbridge, Massachusetts wishes to present to you the Boston Post cane pendant and extends special appreciation to Cecile Hewitt, who is the oldest resident of Sturbridge. Was Cecile invited to come?
She was, but she
She's,
chose not to.
it's understandable. The cane is in a case downstairs, and we add the person's name to it. Okay, is there a motion to sign the petition?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, we can sign it later. Then we just have to change.
I saw it.
Okay. Okay, and then we have a letter, resignation from Rachel Jalbert as the program assistant at the senior center. Do we have a motion accepting the resignation?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation with regret.
Okay, so there's,
Second that.
okay, any discussion?
Regret.
All in favor? Okay.
Thought for a minute we weren't going to accept that
I know
resignation.
it. Tell her no, she has to go into work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Letter F is another resignation.
Yes. We have a resignation letter from Don Toon as the backup health agent. Is there a motion to accept the resignation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll
Sec-
second. Oh,
Go ahead, Mike.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Let's see. Well, I think we can do E. That's a quick one. We need to rescind the appointment of Christine Borbo as the administrative assistant to the Department of Public Works. Okay, is there a motion to rescind the appointment?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, and then later on, when we get to the business, we'll make a reappointment.
We
Okay.
vote on that, though.
We got to vote.
We have to
Oh,
vote on
sorry,
that.
thank you. Is, all in favor? Okay, Mike, do you have the notice for the public hearing?
I do. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 138, the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 7th, 2019, at 6:35 PM regarding the application of a common vicular license or all alcoholic liquor license filed by Peter Champagne of Sawdust Coffee, Inc., at 371 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass. 01566. This hearing will be held at Veterans Memorial Hall, Sturbridge Town Hall, 308 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass.
Okay, is there a representative?
Good evening, my name is Jim Garrett.
Okay, could you,
I represent City Campaign, he's my client for the liquor license.
yes, the mics for the TV camera. Okay, now you could introduce yourself, please.
My name is Jim Garrett, I'm the attorney for Pete Champagne. He's the owner of Sawdust Coffee, Inc., and he's the one seeking the liquor license application
And all common victular.
and all license.
Okay, could you give a quick synopsis of what it is he intends on doing there?
Sure. Pete's going to open up a dessert bar where they're going to pair desserts with wines and drinks. Generally, after people enjoy having dinner here in Sturbridge, have a place to go where they can listen to some music, have a dessert, pair it with a wine or a drink, and kind of cap off the evening that way.
Nice.
Questions from the board? I just had a question. You're going to be manager?
I'm all in.
Yeah,
Owner, manager.
I saw your name everywhere.
Yeah.
Are you tip certified for the pouring?
I will be. I was in the past, but I'm not currently. But,
Okay, but-
yeah, the whole staff will be.
Okay, it's one of our requirements. Okay. Okay, it is a public hearing. Is there any comment or questions from the audience? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, now, is there a motion on the common victular license?
I'll make a motion to grant the application for the common vic and all liquor license to Peter Champagne, 371 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5-0. Okay, any estimate on when you're going to, I know,
I'm praying for the end of November, the beginning of December, if everything goes well.
yeah, this,
So,
We don't have enough places open at night for dessert.
no,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the whole idea is to.
Not that we can have dessert a lot, but when we do, we don't have places open at night.
Yeah, I think Friday and Saturday nights would be the main thing, till midnight with acoustic music.
Nice.
okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Good
and
luck.
Good luck.
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so we do. See how quick they go sometimes?
Well, everybody likes desserts.
Desserts and,
Hey,
yeah, okay.
that's where I
Let's
get my
see.
boyish figures from dessert.
What else could be quick?
Pillsbury Doughboy figure.
Yeah, we could probably do that
We do some of the
one day.
days. Yeah,
That are down at the bottom of the pile.
start on,
163. Okay, does everybody have those, the one-day licenses? Well,
Okay, that's one, you said 160?
63.
163.
163.
Is Kate Corriveau here? Okay, could,
Come on down.
hi. Hi. So you're looking for a one-day wine, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it's on the bonfire,
Correct.
October 24th.
24.
4 to 8. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. Is if this is approved for the 24th and the date moves?
Oh,
can we
I
let
was
this-
gonna put
Okay.
that as, tack that on as,
Mm-hmm,
don't want you down there all alone.
yeah.
Fighting off the mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes, yeah.
So,
Okay. Is there somebody then willing to make a motion?
I, well, I
Oh, you have a
I had a
question,
brief question. Is all the wine going to be from Brimfield Winery, or?
Yes, yeah,
Oh, good.
okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the one-day alcohol beverage license to Kate Corriveau, Brimfield Winery, for October 24th or whatever other date is the town, Sturbridge bonfire is to occur.
Okay, the hour's 4 to 8. Okay.
Okay, yeah, 4 to 8 p.m.
Okay, is there a second on that? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5 to
Some
nothing.
would abstain.
Oh, okay. 4-0-1 then. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next request is from Bay State Brewing.
Hi, how are you?
You look familiar.
I've done this a few times this year.
Okay, and you're requesting,
Single-day permit for the bonfire
Yes.
for beer.
yeah, for the beer. You have 4 to 9, but the bonfire is only going to be 4 to 8, so
Okay.
we'll fix that up on the
Okay.
license.
On
We
the
don't want
license,
people
yeah.
hanging around just,
We don't want to be there that late either, so.
okay. Does anybody have a question? Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the special one-day alcoholic beverage license for Bay State Brewing from 4 to 9 p.m. on October 24th or whatever other date the town bonfire may occur.
It's gonna be 4 to 8,
Didn't I say 4 to 8?
as I said 9, but doesn't matter, just to be
Oh.
sure. Just to be sure.
Okay, 4 to 8 is what I intended to say.
We knew that.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
And I'm going to abstain again.
401.
Alcohol in the common.
Okay,
You're
thank
all
you.
set.
Okay, now we have one-day applications for the event at the barn put on by the Center of Hope. So,
I'm from the Center of Hope.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, you're speaking for everyone?
I think so. I think John's here and Katie's here.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't met anybody else yet.
Oh, okay.
But I told everybody I would be here.
Oh, okay.
So I can talk for everybody, unless
Okay.
anybody else would like to come up.
Okay, and your name, please?
Kayla Kraus.
Okay, and would you please explain what the event is?
Yep, so we're having a wine and craft beer tasting with a live auction at the barn at White Tavern to raise money for our holiday giving program.
Okay. And there are, what, 4 applications? One's for 5 Rusty Corvo wine selection. The next one is Marissa O'Connor, beer and wine. The next one is Ian Garwood. Do you know how to say her last name? Hoop or?
What was that? Which one is it?
Ian Garwood Hoop.
Oh, I'm not sure how you say her last name. It's just called.
Is that an M, Hamp?
Yeah. Well, Andrea can read better.
That's Ragged Hill Cider Company.
Yeah, and it's the cider. And the next one is John Samick, wine and craft beer.
For Hardwick Winery.
And then Nancy Bixby, altruist, beer and wine also. And John Samick, didn't I already read that one? Do we have it twice?
I think that was for our.
Right. Dates are different.
Yeah, that's separate. Okay, does anybody have any questions on any of these? I had a question on the Marissa O'Connor one. It says both on and off premise, but the one-day license are really given for on premise.
On premise, they're gonna be doing tastings, but they'll be able to sell for off-site consumption, so like buy the bottle.
But take it out,
But they won't be
okay.
able to consume
Okay.
there.
Okay. I think we just need to clarify that on other applications. Okay, Jeff, did you have a question?
Nope.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion, then we can make it in one felt swoop.
Can I make a motion to approve special one-day alcohol beverage licenses to be at the barn at White Farm, all of these, on October 24th from 6 PM to 9:30 PM, to Rusty Caravo of Brimfield Winery, and to Marissa O'Connor for Agronomy Farm Vineyard, and to Ann Garwood Hope of Ragged Hill Cider Company, and also to John Samack of Hardwick Winery, and finally, but not least, Nancy Bixby of Altruist Brewing Company.
Okay, it's going to be a busy day in town for wine and beer.
Yes.
Okay, is there a second to that? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5-0. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck with it.
Thank you.
Hope you get a good crowd.
Come by.
Oh, yes, after the bonfire. Okay, well, we still have time. Okay, so we also have an application from John Samick for a one-day alcohol license for the Harvest Festival on the Common, October 19th and 20th. Hours of operation 10 to 5. And on the 20th, 11 to 4 for wine serving. Any questions? Comments? Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the special one-day alcoholic beverage license to be on the town common on October 19th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on October 20th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. During the Harvest Festival to John Samek of Hardwick Winery.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
And I'll abstain on that one, too.
401. Okay, we still have
Thank you,
Thank you.
John.
12 minutes.
Police report.
Yeah, we might as well. Chief, do you want to come down? Please. Or your report.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chief.
You have July and August reports. Operations and training are pretty standard for the month of July. You can take any questions on any of the parts of the report of July that anyone has.
Anyone have any questions on July?
Your calls for service are down like 3,000 calls from prior year.
It's hard to tell without doing a full analysis of, and breakout of all the calls for service that we had last year. Some of the things that may contribute to the number changes are staffing. The more officers that we have, the more activity that's produced out there, self-generated activity by the officers. I'd have to do a breakdown to see what areas we were down in considerably and to see the reasons for that. We could have a prolonged investigation, where it's taking an officers off the road for 2 to 3 hours at a time. There's complex arrests that have caused officers to come off the road. The shortage of patrol personnel that are working that generate their own activity are a number of reasons that we could include. I have to look at the weather to see if there was a contributing factors like a more severe weather season that prompted more calls for service, whether they be burglar alarms, trees down, wires down, those sorts of things. So it would take a little more of an analysis than I'm able to answer for you at this time.
Thank you.
I see in July we did receive a support and incentive grant
Yes.
for $41,000.
Okay, that reactivated our state 911 support and incentive grant, reactivated the grant that we had the previous year. We did get it because we've taken on the mobile 911 and text to 911 as well. We have taken on additional responsibilities with receiving 911 calls at the station. So with that, they gave us additional funding to support our dispatch operation.
Very good.
Okay, August.
August, as we found our way coming into the end of the summer, a few of our annual events came about, the first being the Pan Mass Challenge, another successful year with the Pan Mass Challenge. I certainly want to thank our volunteers, our CERT team members, the many police departments that came through the Central Mass Law Enforcement Council to assist us and to augment our safety plan. Also MEMA, the Mass Emergency Management Agency, also to support us and hold us up with their incident command vehicle. They provided that to us every year. Another successful event. We continue to be the starting point, and we are always amazed at how many people go out that first thing in
Oh,
the
it's
morning.
amazing, that bright
And
and
how
early.
organized they are and how quickly things get set up and get broken down, and what a fine-tuned operation that the members of the Pan Mass Challenge here, especially in Sturbridge, have things organized. Sue Brogan does a wonderful job coordinating with us. And Matt McGinnis, those two really do work well with us and integrate into our plans, and hopefully we continue to have that partnership, and it works out well. We also held our National Night Out in the Town Common, was successful. It continues to grow each year. It is one of those events that we used to have in certain areas of town that was moderately successful. It seems to have taken on a new life and a new persona when we started having it on the Common and starting inviting many more vendors. So I hope that that continues to evolve into a positive event for everybody to come and meet their public safety and first responder professionals of the town and interact with them and get to know a lot of the neighbors that support us as well. And also, we had our annual SALT cookout, our Seniors and Law Enforcement Together cookout at the Public Safety Complex. Hot dogs and hamburgers, the members of the police department, the volunteers from both departments and the firefighters that came out to help cook and make sure that that was a successful event, and that our friends from the senior center all had a great luncheon out there in the parking lot of the Public Safety Complex. So those are some of the highlights from August. We do have some other operational events that are pretty standard for the year as well, and the training standards and training that occurred during that time are pretty standard as well. So take any questions if there are.
Okay, anything from the board?
A couple of questions not related to the report. What is the status on, I know you were getting together with the chiefs from the other districts with respect to the school resource officer and them implementing a plan to have a more cohesive one, possibly contribute to the whole program? And I just wondered what's the, have you gotten together with them?
Oh, we have. We've met several times. The regional chief, the Union 61 chiefs, if you will, have met a number of times, and we are in the process of developing a school resource officer program that covers the entire district, so that we are interacting with one another through our trained SROs and sharing those services and ensuring that all the students from when they first get into elementary school until they become seniors at Tantascwa have the same programs from very similar teachers on the same platform. Everyone is on board. The school has been assisting us with, helping us with some of the funding for training. There's going to be officers from the towns of Brimfield, Brookfield, Holland right now that are going to be going to the next available school resource officer training, which should be mid-November. And once they get certified, they'll get on the ground and they'll become part of the team that's already established here in Sturbridge. And hopefully, at some point, our vision is that within the next year or so, that we have a great school resource officer team that can not only teach and work together, but can respond and assist all the schools in the district and cover it as a district policing resource, as opposed to just this town and that town until they get to Tantascwa. So I think we're using that whole community approach, which everybody's on board with, and I think there's only one other community I'm aware of in the Commonwealth that has a regional school, and that only has 2 schools in it that share the same program, and I've been on the phone with them quite a bit to see what's worked for them and what hasn't, and so far we're moving in a very positive direction with that, and a lot of support internally and externally on that.
Awesome, because we haven't got an update, so I just wondered what was going on. Now, I know you want a community approach, but has any of the other elementary schools, do any of them have a school resource officer at this point?
They don't technically have one that's certified there, and that's what we're moving towards. Well, they have, each elementary school has a program, has a safety program, has an officer or two that's there regularly. What we're trying to do is we're trying to professionalize that, trying to establish policies and protocols that are the
Uniform,
same, that are across the board, so that people aren't confused if you come from Brimfield and it's different in Holland. And we hope that by cross-training and sharing those resources and standardizing those policies, that it's not only across the board for the students, but for the faculty and also for the police, fire, and EMS, who are also included in our plans as well.
Nice. Anybody else? I had another question, but I don't
No,
want
go
to
ahead.
monopolize. Did you get I know on an annual basis, you will go into the different restaurants and liquor stores to make sure they're not serving underage individuals. Usually have a grant for that. Did you get it
Well,
this year for the sting operation?
We have grant funding that we're applying for right now. Some of that grant funding has moved from underage drinking to the texting and driving. It's all depends upon what the state offers us and what's available.
Okay.
We usually apply for every single grant that's out there.
Right.
And because of our reputation, we get most of them. I don't know right now in the current round of grants if that one has come up yet. That one is usually something that comes up in the spring if it's available, and I don't recall it being available this year to us.
Oh, okay.
But
I thought you typically came in the
I'd have to double check
fall.
because we might have done a more scaled down version of it towards the end of the summer, but I don't think that we had it this year in the level of, in amounts that we've had in the past that was dedicated
And
just
this
to underage
would be
drinking.
like the first year, I think, since
Right.
that you haven't.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Mike?
I see at the junior, at the elementary school level, you have a Red Kids program that you have classes for. And it looks like you're trying to do something like that at the junior, senior high, high level from this report. I was just wondering what Red Kids was all about and how this would have.
Well, Red Kids is a program that targets the elementary school aged
Yeah.
children, and it's a personal empowerment program.
Yeah.
And it not only has components attached to it about, again, I don't want to get too involved in what the personal empowerment aspects of it are, but it really does empower the children to be aware of strangers, be aware of how to report, what trusted people are in their lives, making good choices with regards to drugs and alcohol, et cetera. For a week-long course, it's a pretty decent program, and it really does help out the children that attend it, and they can attend it for several years throughout their elementary school time. They can retake it and become part of it to continue with that. The junior, senior high school, what we're trying to do more so in the senior level is get the RAD Adults program incorporated into the curriculum with the senior phys ed classes, so that the females or the young women that are in the senior class have an opportunity to take RAD Adult as opposed to taking the general phys ed. So again, that program is invaluable, and it sends them out into the college era time in their lives with a skill set for protecting themselves they would never have had otherwise.
It's a really good program.
They're very good programs. They're excellent.
Anybody else? Do you have anything else for us?
No, I'm just going to sit back and wait for that appointment. I know it's 7 o'clock now. So.
Yeah, we have a public hearing.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief.
What page are we on
Okay,
now?
Mike.
Yeah, what page are we on now?
88.
88.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of lost my place here. Okay.
I know every time I put it together.
Yeah, trying to keep it
Doesn't work.
together. It's hard. Okay. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 138, Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 7th, 2009, at 7 p.m. regarding a transfer of an all-alcoholic beverage liquor license from FBK, Inc. to Vizstat, Inc. for Fred's Variety located at 25 Brookfield Road, Sturbridge, Mass. 01566. Probably actually 01518, but this hearing will be held at Veterans Memorial Hall, Sturbridge Town Hall, 308 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass.
Okay. Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, could you all introduce yourself for the record, please?
My name is Attorney Ian Hedges. I'm here on behalf of VSOT Inc., and this is Jayanti Bhai Patel. So this is a transfer of a liquor license from, as you stated, FBK Inc. to VSOT Inc. Jay is the sole shareholder of VSOT Inc., and he'd also be the proposed manager of the location. As a part of the transaction, there'll be a pledge of the liquor license to the applicant's lender, Rockland Trust Company. But in terms of alterations of the location, there will be none, so no change in hours, no change in physical alterations to the location. Jay is tip certified, and he has about a decade of retail experience with another store that has a beer and wine license in Shirley, Massachusetts. So I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have.
Any questions from the board? Now, this is really a package store, right? Because it has all, yeah.
Yeah.
No questions?
And, well, the other store location that you just mentioned, where's it located, and has there been a good experience there?
Yeah,
Or,
it's located in...
You know, has there been any, violations or anything like that?
Yeah, it's located in Shirley, Massachusetts, and there have been no violations, and it's a good record the entire time it's been open.
Okay. That's my only question.
Okay, anything else from the other members? Okay, public hearing, is there any comment or questions from the audience? Okay, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
We got to vote on it.
Oh, we got to vote.
Okay. I was gonna make a-
That's why we have 5 people,
Yes,
because one of us is older than others. All those in favor of the motion?
We don't have a motion.
Oh,
I'll make
we
a
skip?
motion.
I was
We
reading
close the
something.
public hearing.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve.
The transfer of license from Fred's Variety,
Wow.
25 Brookfield Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Good luck.
Thank you.
My mind's either slow and then
Yeah,
fast, or
Maybe you want to go to dinner or something.
not tonight. Tonight's the
think
night.
our-
Thank you, good luck.
I think it was our packet was too thick tonight.
No, I think what it was with the time,
Yeah,
you
A
know.
lot of time between these.
Yeah, well, we live and learn.
Yep.
yeah.
Can we change it?
Not once it's published in the newspaper.
In the future, how
Oh, in
much
the
time?
future.
10
Oh, yeah.
minutes between?
Oh, yeah, on something like this. Yeah,
Or 15, maybe.
yeah.
in
It's
case.
going to be tough. Logging permits sometimes are
And then we get one.
iffy. Yeah, condense it down.
30 seconds.
Big
Bang, bang, bang.
We have an outlet kill to the school tonight, then.
Not that, yeah. So let's see.
Where are we?
We get time to do the school committee.
Okay.
I don't see any of them here.
Yeah, there is.
Well, I see Sue. Oh, they are? Priscilla, do you want to check and see if it's a school? Oh, that's the CPC.
CPC.
Yeah, here's the second one, so not
See what
enough
else
to
we
do
can
it.
The gentleman from the Gilpin's here. You want to do,
I think that's going to take a while.
okay, well, we get 25 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's going to take,
How about appointments, DPW appointment?
Read the...
The McClure engineering contract?
yeah. What page?
That is page 279.
Yeah, and then we can do the TIF too, that's just. Okay, Jeff, you want to explain this one?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and members. The Fisk Hill Water Pump Station got an appropriation at the June town meeting of $850,000 for an expected renovation. McClure Engineering had done the preliminary engineering on that project. And now we're ready to start final design and bidding. However, recently McClure has revised their cost estimate up. Cost estimates really never go down, but this one went up to over $1 million. At this point, it's staff's recommendation, and Butch is here this evening to answer any questions about this. Go ahead with final design. We do have money for that, and bid it and see where the prices actually come in. If we need an additional appropriation, we could, arrange
Town
or schedule it in
Yeah.
a later town meeting. So our recommendation was to move forward with McClure Engineering on design and bidding of the project.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Butch or Jeff?
Was the increase in cost due to design changes or just general increase in cost due to construction costs? I know construction costs are going up.
We met with McClure, and most of the increases were more of things that he thought might happen that we don't feel will happen. Like, one of them was test pits, and we actually went out and did those for him. A lot of it is, he had some money in there to get rid of the old pump station, but we're gonna leave that there. There's no reason to take it out. We can use it for storage or whatever we want to use it for. So there's a lot of things in there that Chris McClure believes won't actually happen, so he's fairly confident that the 850 may hold, so we're hoping that's the case.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
I don't have a
Yeah,
question.
but look.
Oh, no, I'm just listening.
Okay, then is there a motion from someone? To approve?
To approve.
Contract with McClure for engineering services?
Contract with McClure Engineering for design, bidding, and construction inspection for improvements of the Fisk Hill Water Pump Station.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Then we can, the recommendation on the appointment to the Sturbridge Lakes, we could do that. Okay, there's a recommendation here to concur with the appointment of Victor Pollock of 42 Wells Park Road to be a representative of Walker Pond on the Sturbridge Lakes Advisory Committee. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5-0. Okay. The letter of interest in tax increment financing, Sturbridge Metallurgical on 8 Picker Road.
I'll ask Economic Development Coordinator Kevin Filczek to go over that with you.
Good evening, Kevin.
How are you?
Good, and you?
Very good. So, the town administrator and I have been talking over the past few months with Sturbridge Metallurgical Services over in the Tech Park. They are looking to do a fairly significant expansion at their site and adding about 12,000 square foot addition to their facility. And that would add between 7 and 12 full-time jobs at the facility over the next few years. They are asking for a tax incentive in the form of a TIF, and they are also going to be seeking state credits as well. Now, they've spoken with the Mass Office of Business Development, and I'm working with them as well throughout this process. What we're asking tonight is that you accept their letter of intent to apply for this and to appoint one of the members here tonight to the Local Incentive Review Committee, which includes myself, the town administrator, the town assessor, and the town planner, to review their application and to recommend to the Board of Selectmen either that you should move forward with this incentive or that you should pass on the incentive.
Okay, now most of the incentive comes from the state though, right?
The state we are only, at the local level, we're only covering our local property taxes. So that the state can apply for state credits as well, but that applies only to the state taxes.
Right. Okay, any questions? No? Kind of questionless tonight.
Yeah, I was trying to look through the letter to see how many jobs were being created and.
In the letter, they don't go into that. The letter of intent came before, while they were still developing the idea. They've since submitted to the town earlier today their application, which, again, the Local Incentive Review Committee would actually go through point by point and, try to determine whether or not it's positive for the town. They've also are about to apply to the state. The state goes by quarters. Every quarter, the committee that approves these incentives meets, so they're trying to get on the December docket.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah, that's good. We don't really know how many jobs yet,
No, and this.
but
this is
later on
just
in the
to,
process, we'll,
Right.
I believe
Yeah.
somewhere 7 and 8.
Yeah, in the application, it says between 7 to 12, and as we go forward, it'll, get more specific. But these jobs, they're estimating average, base salary of 52 with benefits, so
so, good jobs.
very good jobs.
Very, and if I may, Madam Chair, very high skill. This is something that even if they hire people with bachelor's degrees to be able to train them to do what they need done. This is very sophisticated testing. There's really no college program that prepares an employee for what they do. They do all their training on site over time because the certifications that they have to maintain are very specific and very difficult to keep. So the quality control is pretty high.
And I would also say they're actually certified by GE as one, they work for GE, Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce, Sikorsky, Pratt Canada, Northrop Grumman. I mean, they deal with everything from defense to the private sector. And I believe, for GE, they have 3 of 70, there are 75 people who can actually certify certain products, GE products. They hold 3 of the people who can actually do that worldwide, so we're very lucky.
Sounds good.
We had an opportunity to tour the facility. It's amazing, the work that's
Being
taking
done.
place in Sturbridge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, does somebody want to make a motion then is it just to accept the letter and move it forward, or what?
You
should
need to
we-
accept the letter, yes, but you would also need to appoint one of
Appoint
your
one,
own to work with us.
Okay, we'll make 2 motions. Is there a motion from someone to accept the letter?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, now, before we appoint someone, is there someone willing to volunteer?
If I may, it would only be for the next 3 weeks and then a brief time after that. The first 3 weeks, you just would review the application, you would meet with us once as a group, and then after that, if the Board of Selectmen approves of the application to move forward, you would then help negotiate the incentive with that committee.
I'll go.
Okay, is there a motion then to appoint Priscilla as the Board of Selectmen to be on the review committee?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Thanks to Sturbridge Metallurgical.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we still got time. What else did I?
Do the codification.
Yes, was the back.
293.
Yep.
Page 293.
Right here. Yeah, it's J under the agenda, codification of general bylaws. Jeff, do you want to explain?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. At the June town meeting, money was appropriated for the codification of our zoning and general bylaws. Codification is a process whereby you actually incorporate your laws into a consistent number format in basically a legal book, just like a law book you would see from the state of Massachusetts or whatever else, with sections and codes, and there'd be annotations, there'd be a table of contents, there'd be references on adoption, a history of the legislation and its amendments, and Code Publishers is doing all this for us. And part of that process, they'll take the general bylaws, and this evening that's what we're talking about, because the zoning bylaws are planning's handling that, and we'll re-adopt those in some form or format. So the question before you is, do you want Code Publishers to take them as they are? If there's grammatical issues, if there's syntax problems, if there's redundancies, just put them in the book and we'll adopt the numbering system. That's all town meeting will have to adopt, the renumbering of them. Or do you want Code Publishers to go through and recommend changes that scrub these bylaws of grammatical errors, numbering errors, redundancies, gender-specific references, all those type of things. So, and that's a question of the board. My recommendation is to let them scrub them. But then those changes will have to be approved at town meeting also. So any changes we make will have to go to town meeting for approval. So it makes it, the approval process a little bit more complex of the new code, but the product at the end is a cleaner product. So.
Okay, board's thoughts.
Yes, for the same amount of money?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so let them correct our grammatical errors.
I would make a motion to go, follow the town administrator's recommendation.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Right.
Okay. We also have another appointment that we could make. Kay, Roxanne
Yes, Roxanne
Smith.
Smith is desiring to be on the Sturbridge Cultural Council. Is Roxanne here this evening? Oh, wonderful.
Come on down, Roxanne.
This has been and I apologize, your application got hung up in our new software systems, but you're here this evening, and we look forward to getting you on the commission.
And my old job was testing software, so I understand how those things happen, so.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Anything you want to say?
No, I'm just interested in seeing different cultural aspects happening in Sturbridge.
Okay, and they're still working on their
Grant applications.
grant applications.
Yeah, so they
So
sort
you
of
can
wanted
get,
someone in there before they started reviewing
right,
those.
that would be good. Any questions for Roxanne? Is there a motion then to concur with her appointment?
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Thank
That
you,
was
Roxanne.
easy,
Thank
huh?
you. That's
Love
your
getting more people
easiest one
involved.
tonight.
Yes.
Have fun. Okay,
Victor Pollock is a, nope, we did that one.
yeah, we did that one.
Dispatcher.
How
Trevor
about,
Bresci as a dispatcher? Can we do that one? I don't, that's up to
Yeah,
the
oh, no,
chair.
no, fine, I was just going to ask the
Okay.
chief if he was here, so, yeah, no,
I'm
come on down.
recommending, I'm not inviting up, so.
No, I need all the help I can get.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello again. I'd like to bring before the board Trevor Bress. Trevor is a graduate of Tantasco Regional High School and Quinsigamon Community College. Most recently employed by Loomis Armored Car Service. Trevor was also an intern with us from Tantascwa at the Sturbridge Police Department, and I don't want to say he's following in his brother's footsteps, but, you know, his brother was a full-time dispatcher with us too, till he took a full-time police officer's job. So Trevor's on the path, and he interviewed in our last dispatching process, and he is our next candidate for the position. He's successfully passed an extensive background investigation, and I would recommend appointing him to the full-time dispatching position at a rate of $20.80 per hour, effective October 7th.
Should be the 8th.
I'm hoping that the board would take into consideration my request tonight to have him appointed today, if possible, because of the conditions of the 911 grant that we had to get him enrolled in. Otherwise, we'd be waiting to get him into school in December with the state 911 grant. I don't know, I'm hoping that there was no issue with him being appointed effective today. In order to satisfy the needs of this grant, because otherwise we'd have to wait till December to get him into a class, and he'd be training, but he would not be able to pick up the phone or do any of the 911
No
training
problem.
aspects.
All right.
Does someone have a motion then to concur with the appointment
With the appointment effective today, October 7th.
at $20.80 per hour?
Correct.
Any discussion? Thought you were going to say something.
No, I was going to second or something, but I'm happy with Chase doing it. No, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, all in favor?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good luck.
good luck, Trevor.
See you again. Congratulations.
Okay,
Could
welcome
actually
aboard.
you could go to work right now.
Yeah.
You're on the clock.
Yeah, she is.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, is April Denham here?
Is April? Is she here?
Butch, is April here? Oh, okay. Could you both come down then and?
I'd like to introduce you to April Denault. Hopefully, with your approval, she'll be starting as our administrative assistant Monday, October 21st. I don't have the rate, though. I don't know if you have the rate. Andrea?
It was 1880.
1888.
88. April's many years working in the office environments and will be a welcome addition to our staff.
Any
Questions?
questions from the board?
No, I had said something to Christine, and so I'm not saying anything this time.
Do you have a good sense of humor?
I do.
Good.
Oh, I forgot what your comment was. That's right.
Remember I told her how tough a
Thick
job
skin.
it is, and she had that thick skin.
No need.
I scared her off, so I'm not saying anything.
Okay. Is there a motion then, if there's no more questions?
So moved, approval of, for the name here.
April.
Denault, for DPW Administrative Assistant, starting rate of $18.88 per hour.
Second.
Yeah, effective upon successful completion of pre-employment conditions. Chase, do you second?
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5-0. Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, you'll be just fine.
It's a breeze.
Okay, we still have 5 minutes. Is there anything we skipped?
My report?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At the last meeting, we talked about Sturbridge Auto Sales, and their bond was expired. They have since posted a new bond and are fully compliant, so that was taken care of. The October 21st Board of Selectmen's meeting, I'll be out of town at ICMA. I don't know if there's an ability to move that, so I can be present.
Well, there's always an ability.
Or desire.
Yeah, because, Andrea, we don't know if she'll be here.
Why?
Yeah. Ooh, I wonder.
As much as I'd love to play tournament.
So would the board be willing to move that meeting?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. To when?
Do we have anything on there, public hearings or anything so far?
No.
Okay.
Another Monday, or how about the day after, Tuesday?
Well, actually, Tuesday we're meeting because Monday is the holiday.
Oh, it's a
No, it's not. No, it's not. The holiday for
holiday's
Columbus
the
Day is
14th.
next week. Monday's Columbus Day.
Yeah, next Monday.
Oh, that's right, the
Meeting that
14th.
Yeah.
I come
Okay,
back in
back.
on the 22nd, so I'll be 23rd?
That's fine with me.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. How about you?
That works for me. Yep.
October 23rd.
I'm assuming 6:30?
Yeah, unless we have executive session.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll post that.
23rd.
It's Wednesday.
You all set with that, Mike?
Yeah, yeah. I'm fine. I've got a meeting on 22nd. I was thinking we were going to meet on the
she make it?
22nd.
Okay.
That would have been a problem.
Sam can make it.
23rd's fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Because none of us know how to take notes.
We'll send you the video. You can do it from home.
Okay.
Moving, number 3, McGilpin Road, that was, you asked me to follow up with DEP. There's kind of an email in your packet. They're still doing studies, so there's no definitive answer on that. We'll keep an eye on that and work with DEP to make sure those studies get done. They're going to do some geophysical work scheduled, which is later this year, and they may use that to put a proposed monitoring well somewhere between the landfill, Southbridge landfill and McGilpin Road. And then they'll do some well logging along those houses on McGilpin. And then finally, Charter Communications, we had a town resident here a few weeks ago. I finally got hold of our representative that sends you letters every meeting about changes to charter.
Price is going up, channel
Yeah, price is
changes.
going up.
Yeah. We're adding this, cutting that.
The response was as expected, so I'm going to visit with them some more. Not a lot of movement on their part on making it easier to get the senior citizens discount or its applicability to the premium channels, but we'll continue to have conversations about those things. Their recommendation would be to make it easier, you can bring your proof of qualifications for the discount to the Southbridge Payment Center office, and that's easier. I don't know if it's easier, or go to an analog or non-cable TV, put your antennas back up on your roof. That was kind of their response, which...
It's a response.
It's a response. So we'll keep working the issue and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So get your rabbit ears back out.
Okay, any questions on Jeff's report? Okay, nothing else. We have a half a minute.
Use the bathroom.
We do the minutes, no?
Please.
Do the minutes?
Well, it's only a half a minute, and she's... Although we did get that notice from Jean about the housing needs assessment.
Oh, that's what I was
Kevin.
going to put on. That it's open. Hold on, where's my, I had a note on that. Did you have the?
Kevin sent us one, too.
Oh, and I had a couple other things I'll do real quick. She's not here. I'll have to wait. There's a Town of Sturbridge Housing Partnership, Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. So the Housing Needs Assessment Survey will open on October 11th and can be accessed by SurveyMonkey. So it's surveymonkey.com/r/Sturbridge Housing. We'll make sure that's posted on TV. So the survey will be open from October 11th to November 1st. So it's asked a series of questions on housing in the community, what the needs are, what kind of housing would people like to see, what kind of housing do people need. So it's a pretty inclusive survey. The Housing Partnership went over the document the other night, so it should provide some really good information.
Is there a hard copy of that survey available for people that don't use computers and, you know,
I can find
at the
out.
town hall or at the senior center? Library?
I'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. I'll find out.
Okay, it is 7:30. Mike, you have a notice?
I'm trying to find the page again.
140.
Almost there. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 132, Section 40 through 46, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Sturbridge will hold a public hearing on the petition of Scott Gurish for a logging permit for 11 acres of land on 177 Podunk Road, Sturbridge, Mass. 01566, owned by Gerald Supranat. The hearing will be held on Monday, October 7th, 2019, at 7:30 PM at Sturbridge Town Hall, 308 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass.
Okay, thank you. Is the proponent here? Okay, good evening.
Hello.
Okay, would you both introduce yourself, please, for the record?
My name's Scott Garish. I'm the forester.
My name's Tom Buell. I'm Gerald Supranat's nephew.
Would you please explain what it is you want to do?
Well, we're just doing a small timber harvest there, just to manage the land. It's a light cutting. We call it uneven age management, selection harvest. We are trying to develop a healthy forest of where all age classes are present, from young, small seedlings up to large, mature timber. And we're also trying to improve the species diversity in light of all the things that are happening to our forests, introduced insects and diseases and climate change. It seems a good idea to try and develop a diverse forest so that we're better able to combat things like gypsy moth infestations, hemlock rhododendron, emerald ash borer, Asian longhorn beetle, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. You do have your forest cutting plan from the state?
Yep.
Yep. Questions from the board?
I saw something when we came in from the Conservation Commission. Is that for this permit?
No, for both logging.
Okay. So this area is right behind Jerry's house?
Yes.
So it's, okay.
Yeah, and Conservation said, at this time, the SCC does not have any concerns with the forestry activities as proposed and as conditioned by the DCR service forester. Okay. But she does say it's imperative that the licensed timber harvester only work in dry or frozen conditions and use mats to ensure that the wetland does not impact during work, which you've been here enough, Scott.
Right.
Okay, anything else from the board? Okay, it is a public hearing. Any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Are we approving 177 and 176?
No, they're two different.
I knew they were,
people,
okay,
so
but,
two
okay,
different
okay,
votes.
so this is 177 that we're approving.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, 5-0.
And I just think it's useful to say for the record, not that it was you, Scott, but at one of our last forest cutting projects before us, there was a challenge with respect to the conditions that we put on it, saying that it, according to his attorney, it violated the right to farm state law, and we did have our counsel look into it, and KP found nothing inconsistent with the statute and our regulations. So for whoever was watching 2 weeks ago, we're going to stick with, and we're sticking with our regulations anyway, but that was challenged, and they're reasonable, and you've never had a problem with them when you've come before us, I don't think.
Well, he doesn't like.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that.
Well, you've lived with them and done good work, so.
I've lived with them, yes.
Okay, and the same conditions will apply here.
Yep.
Okay? Okay. Thank you. And then, Scott, you're sitting for the next one, but we have time, right?
Yeah, no, and Tom actually will be involved in the next one too, so if,
Okay, but.
can we have to go and come back again?
Yes, because when it's published in the newspaper, you have to go by the.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sorry. Maybe the Tantascwa appointment.
Yeah, if,
Get the applicants then.
Ted's,
we have to, Ted's not here, but
Can
we know he wants it.
Yeah, but where is it? I mean, don't we have to wait?
I told him 8.
Yeah, everybody,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe the school committee got a call for 8 o'clock too,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I think yes. No?
7:30.
7:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, get a little wrong. Well, the problem is that when Ted's letter of application came in, I had mentioned to Andrea that it would be nice if we got them in early and get them out, so they don't have to suffer. However, in the interim, before that, we had all the applications for the public hearings, which had to get posted, so we missed it by a little, and we kind of misjudged how long the public hearings would take, but next time we'll make them really short, and we'll
so you're,
be behind.
they're suffering right along with us now instead.
That's right, you have to say, but we can do minutes. Okay.
Monday Night Football.
3:23.
The, joint meeting?
3:23. All this.
We're going to wait for Ted,
Joe learning,
Oh, he's,
don't forget it.
8 o'clock.
With your time off? No, that was, I should have been more helpful, but I knew the
Oh, that's okay.
notices went in.
got any other
Okay, is
action
everybody-
items? Approval of minutes.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, the minutes.
I didn't tell him till today.
Page 323. Oh, you're already
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, I'm looking at the minutes.
Andrea, I just had a few things on 327.
What page of the minutes, because I have it printed separately.
Oh,
Sorry.
last page.
Got it.
Okay, that paragraph at the top where 6 lines up where it says Chair Blanchard said she's not in favor of waiving fees. I also brought up the point that I did not believe the Board of Selectmen had the authority to waive fees because it was a town bylaw voted at town meeting. And I also had mentioned that we had no idea how many parcels it entailed. Okay, anyone else have anything?
I just have one change.
Mary?
On page 326, halfway through the last paragraph, it says, she
What page
stayed,
of the minutes are you on?
oh, I'm sorry, page 326, Andrea.
Next to the last.
Okay.
Page 320, yeah, halfway through that big paragraph at the bottom, it said, this would entail the town choosing the contractor, but not put responsibility on the town for the repairs in the future. Scratch, but not put responsibility on the town for the repairs in the future, and put, this would entail the town choosing the contractor, since the repairs in the future would be the town's responsibility.
You have it? You have that written?
I can just repeat it to you again.
Okay.
Since the repairs in the future would be the town's responsibility. It's like exactly the opposite, where we would have been responsible for repairs.
Okay.
And that's it.
Anyone else? Okay, is there a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, we can do communications. 318.
Come on. All three of our correspondences from Charter this time. Surprise, surprise. The first one is September 13th, 2019, from Charter Communications on upcoming changes. Charter Communication will be, let's see, they're gonna, it's making customers aware that around October 15th, Fox College Sports will cease transmission on the SPP Tier 2 and/or Sports Pass in channel lineup. So you're not going to get Fox Sports Channel anymore, I guess. The current Spectrum channel can be viewed at www.spectrum.com/channels. Second correspondence was dated September 19th, and it's advising us that that customers should be aware that on or about October 19th, 2019, ESPN Classic, located on SPP Tier 2, and the Sports Pass will no longer be available on the channel lineup serving your community. ESPN Classic? Oh, God. And then on September 30th, we've got some more correspondence that Spectrum is making its customers aware that on or around October 31st, Disney Family Movies on demand will cease transmission on Spectrum Channel 267 in the channel lineup serving your community. So we're going to lose Disney Family Movies on demand as well. And
Or, I
that's,
didn't quite understand, or they could be putting it on another one, and you can just go get their latest lineup by going
yeah,
online.
did they say they were going to put it on another
No,
channel?
no, but I mean, I
Yeah.
could take it that way,
Well,
as long as they have mine on, I don't.
but those are,
Does anyone else have any other communication? We did get the Mass Electric rate case.
oh,
Jeff, you want to explain what it means?
I don't have it with me. Yes, the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities has approved National Grid's request to increase their electric-based distribution rates, the first time since 2016. So everybody's rates going up for basic delivery services in National Grid service area. So, yep, electric's going up. That's what it means.
Everything goes up.
yeah.
Is that, Matt, is that for those who have National Grid as the supplier?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else we skipped until our,
Yeah.
if this, no, Teddy's not
Guess
here.
we got a,
Could do old
we did
business,
get
can you
a,
do?
Yeah.
Old business, new business.
Yeah,
okay.
'cause
The
Teddy
15th?
said he was coming, Andrea. Okay, old business. Priscilla?
No.
Good idea, Priscilla. Mike?
She proposes it. Nothing.
Mary?
We're still moving along with getting the contractor or to review our sorry, I'm tired, to review our different classifications for jobs that we voted in at town meeting that's moving forward.
Yes, we sent the request for quotes out to 6 different companies.
6, good,
So the deadline for responses is Friday.
excellent.
Okay, and I have no old, new, Priscilla?
No,
Jason? Mike?
No.
Mary?
No.
And I have no new. Okay, well, Ted wouldn't be the first one appointed not being there at the meeting.
Maybe there's something else the committee can talk to you about.
School committee?
Yeah,
Maybe there's other questions for the school committee.
yeah. Well, this is kind of new business. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be going to Boston to testify before the state legislature on the $18 billion transportation bond bill. And out of the $18 billion, $8.2 billion is going to the MBTA, Metropolitan Boston Transit Authority. It's getting a good, $8.2 billion. And all of the communities west of 495 combined will, over the next 5 years, will receive about $3 billion out of the $18 billion. It's well over a third of the total population of the state is only going to get like 10%, maybe between 10 and 15% of the total bond bill for 1/3 of the total population. It's, I guess my comment will be that we should have regional equity and social justice by dividing the money up a little bit better.
By lane mile, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is that they only have, out of the $18 billion, they only have $200 million scheduled, one-time $200 million for Chapter 90 transportation, which is a ridiculously small amount of money to be reimbursing the cities and towns for maintenance of public roadways. It's way too small. The Massachusetts Municipal Association's recommending that the state provide at least $300 million statewide for Chapter 90.
And there's a federal rescission coming out, too, for transportation dollars. There's a line item contained in the Federal Transportation Act, the one that was adopted last year, that rescinds $7.9 billion. So each state's going to have to, of their expected appropriation, they're going to lose some percentage, of the money.
So transportation money is getting real tight. One good thing, though, of the transportation bond bill is they are providing resurfacing money for national highway systems. There's $100 million in the bond bill for that. So it actually goes to the municipalities to resurface their numbered routes. Most of the NHS roadways in the state have a state number, like Route 131's an NHS roadway, and 148, I believe, is. But unfortunately, those roads are in pretty good condition in Sturbridge, so it may not help us here, but that is a good thing in the bill generally.
I have a couple of questions. Mary? I guess this is old business. For those viewing, we've all been notified that the recreational park is no longer seeking sewer on Route 15. They're going to move forward with their own. Okay, because not everybody would know that, who's been watching. And I'm just curious, because I had asked a while back, did KP Law ever put in writing whether or not a town meeting would have been required for that Route 15?
They did. In an email, he just said that to extend sewer, you don't need a town meeting. If you're going to appropriate town money for it, then you
Okay,
need
since there was no appropriation, then we wouldn't have.
Right.
And then my other question is, I know there was a lot of concern with the Route 15 by not all members of the board, but some. Did he indicate why he didn't want to move forward with Farquhar Road? Because there seemed to be almost no concern with the Farquhar Road hookup. I don't want to speak for everybody, but nobody voiced as much concern about Farquhar Road, and I was curious did he revisit Farquhar Road?
Not to my knowledge. He
Okay.
just got reassurances that his wastewater on-site plant would be available and ready to go by spring, so that's the choice he made.
Right, I mean, to go with sewer takes much longer than that. And he's had expected a July opening, and Teddy just came in, so, Ted, we're all
The man of the hour.
Okay, do you have most of your school committee people? Okay, do you want to come down to this table in the front row too, please? And Ted? No. Goes over there. Where's Ted go? Ted goes.
Sure.
Is Pat gonna behave?
Hey, good evening. Thank you. Could you please all introduce yourself for the record?
Michelle Fitzgerald. Mary Beleza.
Ted Goodwin?
Pat Barnacle.
Sue Waters.
Bill Hagerty, Vice Chair of the School Committee.
Okay, and we do have Ted's letter. It says, "To whom it may concern, I would like to express my interest in the vacant Sturbridge seat on the Tantascwa School Committee. I previously served 5 years on the Board of Selectmen in Sturbridge, where I was the liaison to both the Tantascwa School Committee and the Burgess School Committee. My 2 older children are attending Tantascwa at the junior high and the high school. I care deeply about our school system and hope to serve the community on this board. Please let me know if there is anything else I need to submit." That's all. Is there, anyone have a question for Ted?
Yeah.
Priscilla?
First of all, he was the only applicant, I'm assuming? Ted, what do you see your role? I know you did Board of Selectmen prior to my coming on, so that's a whole different venue. What do you see as the role of a school committee in any community?
I think it's efficient and effective use of resources to do our best, not only for our children, but for the whole community. I think that keeping a healthy and vibrant school system is one of the backbones of a community, right? I think it keeps our tax base strong, and I also think it's a moral obligation to educate children. So, there's budget stuff. There's I assume the superintendent searches. There's facility stuff. I think it's being well informed, making level-headed decisions with the students and the town in mind. That's really.
Okay, anyone else from this board? Anyone on the school committee have questions?
I'd jump in, and I'm curious, this is the second time, I guess, we went out the Board of Selectmen went out, and you came forward, which we're delighted. But I was curious what motivated you to consider taking on this position up till election time.
Well, I was reached out to, so I wasn't aware of I'm caught up in having a family.
And work.
Caught up in having a family. So, and I think that there's a need, right? That I think is important, is to when there's a need, to step forward and serve. I think that's something that I've been taught, as a child, and I was in the school system. I was served in the same high school and all the way through Sturbridge's school systems. And I think, there's a responsibility when there's a hole that you're in. I have interest in it anyways. I might have waited a few years to get my kids a little bit older, but it's something that I cared very deeply about, and I feel like that was why. I just felt like it was time. When an opportunity presents itself, you can't wait for the perfect moment. You have to step forward. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was just wondering if if you've considered the next election period, and if you think you'll be willing, at this point, to run.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, it's, again, I think I'm definitely willing to run. Again, that's a decision for the time, but, but as of right now, yeah, definitely, I would be willing to run.
Okay, Pat took my question. Mary?
I don't have a comment. I don't have a question as much as a comment to say that I think Ted has shown his commitment to the town of Sturbridge at a very young age, and I think he'll give 110%. And I'm very excited to have him fill the interim position, and I would be very excited for him to run next year as well.
Okay, anyone else? Mike?
Well, I just wanted to thank Ted for his willingness to serve, because there is a need, like you said, and I'm very proud of Tantascwa as it is and as it gets better in the future. I mean, we had a company here that needs technical expertise. They're looking to expand here in Sturbridge and stuff, and I think the technical programs at Tantascwa are really, really great for the community.
Definitely.
Okay, anyone else?
I just want to echo the comments of the other selectmen and thank you for that.
Okay, someone on either board want to make a motion? William?
I'll make a motion to appoint Edward Goodwin, a junior. Is it junior?
No.
No. Edward Goodwin. Just want to make sure I got the right one appointment. To the Tantascwa Regional School District Committee until the term ends in an election.
Yeah, the next election.
2020.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, thank you all for coming out, and Ted, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Teddy. Okay, it's half a minute before 8.
Yes, to stage.
I know grew up together.
Yeah, we went to school together. So he's a little older.
I can't judge age, my age.
Everybody's younger than me.
Everyone, you're the grandpa.
Could be.
Okay, Mike, do you have it, 150?
150, yes, I have it. I actually am there right now.
It's 8 o'clock on the nose.
It's,
Well, we're
is it
running.
8 o'clock?
Yup,
Okay.
That's what Mickey
Yeah,
says.
it's 8
Big
o'clock.
hand says.
that's what the phone says.
In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 132, Sections 40 through 46, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Sturbridge will hold a public hearing on the petition of Scott Gurish for a logging permit for 18 acres of land on 176 Podunk Road, Sturbridge, Mass. 01566, owned by Thomas and Patricia Buell. The hearing will be held on Monday, October 7th, 2019, at 8 p.m. at the Sturbridge Town Hall, 308 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass.
Okay, Scott, you're up again.
Hi. Suppose you want us to...
Yeah, explain.
My name is Scott Garish. I'm a forester.
My name is Tom Buell. I'm the landowner. One of the...
And it's It's not clear cut, right? People always,
Same type of harvest, yes.
okay, because people always get concerned about that.
Well, this stand has more ash on it, so we are trying to reduce the ash component because that emerald ash borer has actually been found in the town of Sturbridge.
Yeah.
So we're trying to be proactive and we don't want to eliminate the ash, but we want to reduce it so that maybe the emerald ash borer will miss them and say, oh, there's not enough here to stop, so we'll move on to the next area. So.
Okay, we do have a few comments from the conservation. The SCC had suggested that the existing driveway be used as an alternative to the wetland crossing for the harvest, but that's not quite feasible, is it, with the,
Yeah, no, because the equipment that are using it would really beat up the driveway, so, and that's their primary access for the
Right.
residents, so, and we did take a lot of time to find a good site, and it is technically a wetland area, but it's very rocky, and it's also, currently there's no water flowing there, it's dry, and, you know, we would use it only if it was dry or frozen, so.
right, right. No, I figured it would be really inconvenient for the residents. Okay, any comments, questions from the board?
I got a question about the landing area. It's to the left of the driveway, closer to the road. Is that dry upland?
Yes.
Okay, so the landing at least is going to be in an upland area.
Correct.
Yes.
Mary?
No, I was just going to ask, so is this a compromise? Because I noticed that it says the board was split on recommending.
We actually met on site with the forestry liaison and Becky.
Conservation agent.
Right.
And, you know, they seem to be comfortable because we, you know, showed them where we were crossing and explained the situation, and they viewed the site, and I think they felt good about it, but
Right.
they weren't sure how the people back at the meeting were going to feel.
Yeah, and there were only 4 members there, so it was split. But also, I've always had a concern too, that, you know, once the state approves it, I mean, we should have input, but we really cannot deny something that the state has approved on the forestry.
I think you can feel good too that, you know, the state forester, that's what his job is
Yeah.
to inspect these sites and look at them, and my job as well. And I've been doing this for over 30 years, so hopefully I've learned something in 30 years of
Now, the memo says you offered to stop using the crossing if wetland impacts were observed.
Correct.
So you're standing behind that?
As is, yeah, Tom's gonna monitor it, I'm gonna monitor it, the state service forester's gonna monitor it. And the logger that's there is very conscientious also, so we're all gonna keep an eye on the site, and if we do have some issues, we will do something different. We'll come up with a alternative.
And to expand on that, we offered more compromises, which is really not shown in the plan. Like when you get deeper in it, the cordwood effort will be done on the high side of the wetlands, the original landing, if it's noted there. So only the saw logs, or the logs that are going out on tractor trailers, will be skidded through that. So we're trying to minimize.
Any
Sounds
impact.
We're
reasonable.
really going out of our way to work with everybody.
And it is
still live there.
Right. And it is a small site too, so it's not a very big harvest,
No.
really. If you compare it to like the Moyna sale, which is next door, it's a small fraction of what's being done there. So, they just want to maintain a healthy forest around their house, and, you know, that's been in
No,
the
I know the
family for a
letter we
while.
got from Mrs. Buell explained it very well.
Yeah.
It was a good letter.
So
Okay, anything else from the board?
Yeah, it looks pretty small. It's like only 21,000 board feet and 50 cord. That's not a big harvest at all.
No. Well, so it's only, what, 18 acres, so, yeah. And it's a fraction of the forest. We're only cutting,
Yeah.
we're using that uneven age management.
Yeah, and it looks like you're leaving different, you know, a variety of age growth on from what I can see here.
Yes.
So there will be some older trees left, and
So yes, we will be, it will be uneven age management as well as species diversity, similar to the 177 Podunk Road. We're doing this together.
Okay.
As he is.
And it's kind of funny, but the property as a whole, both sides of the road was,
part of the Supernaut farm.
right, was been in his family for a long time, but it was the tree farm, Mass Tree Farm of the Year back in,
1990 with Gerald Supernaut, who is 177 now. So we're trying to roll all this in together, just to minimize some of the expenses.
Very well.
but they've been good stewards of the property for a long time.
Oh, definitely. Public hearing, so any comment or question from the audience? No? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, good luck. And
Oh, no.
the usual, we got to approve it, yeah, but they can,
we just.
the
Thank you very
usual conditions.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the forest cutting plan at 176 Podunk Road, subject to the conditions stated in our policy.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Yeah, now you.
Now
Thank
you've
you very
heard
much.
it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's it.
What's left?
Okay. So the only thing left on the agenda is action item D, request for permission to have 4 Apple Hill Road Reserve for sewer and water transferred to 11 McGilpin for sewer connection. Okay, good evening.
Good evening, ladies and
And-
gentlemen. I'm Attorney Mark Darling, representing Peter Ayotte.
Okay, and your,
Peter Ayotte.
okay, who's going to do the explaining?
I guess I will. So basically, I purchased 11 McGilpin from my neighbor, and I'm just, requesting to tie in. There's a water line already available. My house, 6 Apple Hill, was originally 2 lots. It was 4 and 6. 4 was on the reserve list, and there's a water tie-in there already, ready to be tied into. So I'm just requesting to be able to, I've gone through conservation and I've gone through all the hoops that I need to for 11 McGilpin to, build a house on that lot. It's a nice lot. It's a better lot than 4. It's, I've gone through everything with that. So I'm just requesting to be able to have that water and sewer tie-in from that property to go through my property and tie in.
Now, on the, your property now that's 6.
Yes.
It was 2 and 4, and you combined it, right?
It was 6 and 4.
6 and 4. And you combined it into one.
When I purchased it, that's just how it was. I didn't do it.
Yeah, but it had been at one time
Yes,
combined. It had 2 water lines and 2 sewer lines.
It has 2 water lines, so one to Apple Hill, 6 Apple Hill where I live, and then there's, one in the yard that's just, not being used.
Yeah, because I have a little problem with developing that way, but I have more of a problem with if there were 2 there, 2 water lines, when there were 2 lots, and if it was combined into 1 lot, in my mind, one of those lines would have been relinquished. Therefore, just one, and that's the one you have now to your house.
I'm not understanding.
Yeah, well, there were 2. There's 2 water lines, right? Because at one time, there were 2 parcels. Okay. Well, it was joined into 1 parcel. So to me, you do not retain 2 water lines. You relinquish one. You only have 1 because it's 1 parcel.
Okay. Yeah, there's one there that's not
Yeah.
being used, but
Well,
yes,
that's
I
okay,
understand
but
what you
to me,
what you
you
mean.
relinquish the right to use it. And I do know that we have a comment from Veolia, the water company, that it's happened twice before where extensions were done, but I personally would like more information on why they were done and when they were done, because our former DPW director had recommended not doing this request when it came forward before. So I would need more information on that.
Would love to give you more information, but I'm not sure what you're looking for.
Well, I want to know, the premise here also is, besides stating you think you have the two lines, that it's been done before, so it should be done again.
It strikes me.
We don't normally set precedent. We work case by case.
Sure.
So my comment is, I would like to know who did the water or sewer, whatever the lines are, going from the cul-de-sac down to McGilpin, from Apple Hill. I just need information on that.
I'm not sure how that impacts the IOTs. They have a house on a nice lot because,
Yeah,
and
combined
when
lot.
that house was built, 2 houses could have been built on that land. And the builder opted to build one, which meant they needed only one of the sewer connections and only one of the water connections. So that's good for the town. You have a bigger lot, more open space. And now what we have is the IOTs have acquired the property on McGilpin behind, making the space even larger. And but McGilpin doesn't have a sewer line in the street. And so what they're proposing to do is simply use the connection that has already been approved on Apple Hill, to make the connection to McGilpin, which requires them to have an easement, which they've had engineered. I suppose, has the board been provided the engineering plans?
Yes,
So you see that
Small.
they've gone to the trouble already of engineering this properly. It's a 20-foot wide easement. The grade, as I understand it, from McGilpin to Apple Hill is slightly down grade. So in other words, McGilpin's a little higher. And so it would seem that the engineering of a sewer line is going to be simple, subject to the design of a sewer connection on the house that gets built on McGilpin, but we don't know what that'll be at the moment. And so what we're asking the board to do is make a simple decision about connecting what is already approved by the town to a home that is going to be a little further away from Apple Hill than it would have been if they'd built the house right on Apple Hill some years ago. And I understand you want some history information here, but I'm not sure even that Mr. Iott has that information.
Well, I think it can be gotten through the town, but also your comment earlier that there could have been 2 houses built on the original lot.
Right.
I doubt in our planning regulations we allow 2 houses on 1 lot.
That's not what I meant. What I meant is you had 2 lots back then.
That's right, and that goes to my point. It was 2 lots with 2 lines, and it went to 1 lot. Therefore, it should only have 1 line.
I don't want you to misunderstand my point. I agree that when you take 2 lots and you combine them for 1 home, you have 1 house on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My point is that at a prior time, the decision was made to do that when instead they could have opted to build 2 houses, connect 2 sewers, 2 water connections to the system. And so all I'm suggesting is that the use that is being proposed now by the IOTs is less burdensome on the town than it would have been if it had been designed with 2 smaller houses on those 2 lots. So I just offer that as a way of making you understand that this is a simple and I think reasonable request.
Well, it might sound simple, it might sound reasonable, but other comments, Mary?
Yeah, I have a few too. So when I looked at, one's a little more practical, one's a little bit more rooted in our bylaws, I couldn't find anything that gives the property owner the right to assign a sewer hookup that was given to the lot itself. It's not,
I looked as well. I didn't find any bylaw that governs this.
That's because
I don't think that our bylaws contemplating assigning a right to a hookup to another piece of property whose neighborhood wasn't part of a sewer project that went before town meeting. Now you're bringing into a neighborhood that has never gone to town meeting to approve sewer along that line. So I don't know. I mean, when I was looking at the bylaws, was Apple Hill part of Phase 2? It's part of the Fisk-Hill. So it says, in our bylaws, it says, only those lots existing as of record in 1995, which is in this case, or in Phase 2, is entitled. Any vacant lot within the above referenced sewer area is entitled to a design flow of one sewer unit as defined in Section 5.59. This talks about the lot itself having a right to a sewer hookup if it was in Phase 2, which that other lot was, but it was combined. It doesn't say anything about being able to take an approved sewer hookup for Phase 2 and assign it through the back, I assume the backyard, to a neighborhood that wasn't part of that. So, I don't know. And then the only other one it refers to are new lots. And then the new lots are lots created, which are sewer extensions shall require a public hearing. So when I read those two, to me, it was the lot on Apple Hill that was entitled to a sewer hookup, not the property owner saying, well, I also own that one, I want to go to McGilpin.
Sure.
I mean, so, and as a practical matter, so I don't know if I'm reading them correctly or not. It also says undeveloped lot shall be assigned one sewer unit and be assessed accordingly. So it's that lot that had a right to the sewer hookup, not the owner of the lot assigning it to another lot in a neighborhood that never got approved at town meeting for town services. Like, it's a very unusual.
But if I own it, don't I have a right to it? I mean, it's
No, that's what I'm saying.
technical,
The lot had a right to it.
but all I wanted to do was just move the reserve list over. I mean, Butch Jackson has said there's no problem with this. Shane Moody looked at the water, there's no problem with it. I mean,
Well, there's the reserve list, but when you look at McGilpin Road, they're not on a sewer
right, but there's
service
already
area.
water lines from Apple Hill going to McGilpin
That's
already.
right,
And they just
but-
did an easement on Whittemore to Old Farm, so I'm not doing anything extreme here. This
Well-
is, I think the
Has
bigger
this
issue.
actually been done in the past? 'Cause
It
I
has
just
been
don't
done.
see that
There's a
it's
water line
contemplated.
from Apple Hill already.
There's two water lines, I believe. Butch,
Right.
maybe you could help us out? Aren't there two water lines?
41 and 49.
49?
So I'm not doing anything extreme here. I mean, I think the bigger issue
but-
here is, and I don't want to,
You're getting, it's getting two hookups on one lot.
no, it's getting one hookup on one lot to McGilpin. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, but
I'm
my
trying to
point-
run an easement through my property.
Yeah, do you know when they were put in?
No,
Because
41 and 39.
I think when they were put in, it was the developer
We
that
just did one on
owned
Whittemore to Old Farm.
that land.
Well, that was not quite that way.
It's,
They tied into an easement, that's what they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's an easement coming across Whittemore, coming across from Old Farm to Whittemore for Old Farm, and the new house there tied into the easement.
But it's still going across, and it's cut across. I mean, I
Not
I
cut
live in the
across someone's
community.
backyard.
I live in the community, I own a business, I'm not trying to do anything extreme here, and I feel like, a little bit of this might be local politics, because I know my neighbors have been, they've had a problem with this. They were at every conservation meeting, and I've tried to do everything by the book. I'm not doing anything out of line here.
No one up here, sir, is accusing you of that.
No, but I don't feel like I'm getting the same treatment. Everyone who's come up here tonight went through without a problem, but now this is,
no,
but I also know that
I mean,
there's, my neighbors in the back
Everyone
have
that came up here,
called
nobody
many
came up
times.
here for, you mean tonight?
Yeah, everyone's gone through with no problem. All I'm saying
Well,
is,
But those were totally different projects. I mean, since day one, when I heard about this, and I read the bylaws, and I've been in town a long time, and when I look at it, there were two lines.
there
When
are
you-
two lines.
Yes,
just wanna
well,
move on.
originally, there were two lines
That's all I want to do.
and two lots. But when the lots were combined, it only had a right to one line. You relinquish the other. So for you to say you have the right, I don't believe that. Anybody else? Chase?
I just have some questions that I want to talk, and then I'll give my 2 cents. So the easement you're going to grant an easement
Mhm.
across your lawn.
Mhm.
Now, in that grant, who's going to maintain that easement in
I-
case a truck needs to get back there?
I will. It's all grass, you know, it's already maintained,
Yeah.
and as long as I live there, I will, but it's gonna be a legal document that's gonna go with whoever buys my house when I sell, so they have to uphold it. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not a big deal. There's easements all the time. And the way that the yard is spread out, I mean, it's all yard anyway. Whoever buys my house is gonna wanna maintain it because it's their grass.
Yeah. And that, all that wording's going to be put into the easement with the...
A simple easement grant would essentially provide that 6 Gilpin,
Yeah.
Mr. Ayat's home would be, I'm sorry, Apple Hill, would be the servient estate. In other words, that's the estate over which an easement which serves McGilpin Road would be laid out. So that would run with the land, so any time a transfer of Apple Hill happened, whether it was Mr. Ayat selling it or 3 owners down the road, that easement would be on record at the Registry of Deeds, and any subsequent owner would be taking subject to it, because the right to use that easement vests in whoever owns the McGilpin property. And so the simple law is that the people who own McGilpin have to keep their sewer line well maintained. The easement gives them the right to do that right across the 6 Apple Hill. So, and I can't imagine there's an awful lot of maintenance that would require. There'd be pipes underground. In the outside, I suppose there's an outside chance of a pumping system.
I guess a clear passageway, no lawn ornaments in a certain area, a way for the town to get a truck back there to service the pump if there was an issue.
It's a straight
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
So, and the grade is it's a slight downhill grade in McGilpin to Apple.
I personally don't have a problem with it. I mean, I do agree with the board that this is a weird, it's a little different situation, but really what sways me in favor of voting for this is the fact that we have done it before in that area. So I have a hard time saying no to you when it's been done to other people in that area. I mean, if you pay the tie-in fee, you maintain it, you put it in the easement, there is a hookup there that could service McGilpin. I personally don't have a problem with it.
Priscilla?
I was at the conservation meeting one of the times when you came, and I know what you went through to meet all their standards. I mean, I saw the map on their screen, and also I know what you've been through. I agree with Chase. I don't have any problem either, because I know what you've done to make this work. So I don't have any problem.
I have a question.
Jeff?
So the line in the easement, is that a service line owned by the property owner, or is that a line owned and maintained by the town?
Good question.
Because the easement would be granted, if it's a service line, the easement would be granted to each owner for maintenance of their own line. If it's supposed to be maintained by the town, then the easement would be granted to the town.
My understanding of the Chapter 183 is that the town permits the hookup, they're required to allow the hookup on lots that have frontage with a street with a sewer line in, which is what, we don't have that here because McGilpin Road doesn't have a sewer line in it. But in the usual hookup situation, the homeowners own the lines until...
Right, to the street right away.
We're talking about anything different here. Is that the line underneath the easement would be owned by McGilpin owners. And that's why I was
Yeah, but if it goes from his property,
Well, you're granting an easement to the McGilpin owner to maintain their service line.
to maintain, to own and maintain a service line.
So the town would
through
maintain
Apple.
anything. This clogs up, McGilpin has to figure it out, however length of run it is.
Right, and as you can see from the plan, it's a distance of...
There'll be a clean out every 100 feet, and
I'm just,
You know,
I just
just
want to
saying.
clarify who's
In Butch-
going to be responsible for maintaining this thing.
with it, right? I mean, how often will it have to be cleaned
The only issue I have is keeping it open, because by bylaw, we maintain the pump. And the other thing is, if we drive on your lawn, we don't want to have to repair the grass.
And that's all gonna be,
The line or the pump, whatever we gotta do, and then whatever happens there is on
and that'll all be in the
If
in
getting
the
this
easement
approved,
document.
If the board thinks getting this approved would be contingent on putting specific language in a easement that protects the town, we're perfectly willing to talk about that and work out the language that you accept, so.
Okay, Mike?
Is there an issue of whether the privilege fee would be higher if it would be today?
No.
Connection, phase 2 is the same.
Privilege, it's
same
$7,500.
Same privilege fee as
Yeah.
today.
Plus the
No,
hookup.
I was just, going through Chapter 83 today on a different matter as far as sewer rates and stuff like that goes. And, the right to hook into a sewer is based on English common law. And in Massachusetts, if somebody can access a common sewer, it's first come, first serve. And I don't think, I don't think we can deny entry into the sewer system. And it's just, based on my experience, I'm not a legal expert or anything like that, but, my experience is if somebody has a legitimate right to enter a common sewer, it's not like that everywhere, but in Massachusetts, it is like that, people have a right to use a common sewer if it's available to them. And there's nothing about lots or frontage or anything like that. It's just the right to enter if it's available.
My thinking about it is that it's a good thing for the town to develop property in this way. It means.
Well, it's, in my mind, and I mentioned that earlier, I don't think it's a good way to develop. It's piecemeal.
You can't develop that long.
Wait a minute. Ray, this is a public meeting, but not a public hearing, okay?
My point is that you have town sewer, town water available. Mr. Ayot's proposing to connect to it, pay the appropriate fees, and it adds to the town's tax base. It allows for development of a property that is going to be served by town services, so you're not dealing with wells and septic systems as in some communities. And all of that is a reasonable way for the town to grow. So I think it makes sense to do what we're asking. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm saying this is a sensible request. And
No, I know,
ask
that's why
that you
I
consider
tend
it.
to disagree with Mike on that. We can have the right to refuse, but
It looks.
that's beside Mary.
I just want to address
Not
something.
if it's available, I don't think.
Okay, hold on. I just want to address something you said. I'm sorry that you think it's politics as usual. I'm not happy with that. I did study the bylaws, and I just didn't see the right to assign it to a neighborhood that didn't go to town meeting for approval. That's where I was coming from.
And I agree with you.
Okay, so it's a very different process that our bylaws really don't talk about. I personally would like to see, and that's why I brought it up again, I don't know if I brought it up tonight, but I brought it up before. I would like to see McGillicuddy get on services because, there's a problem with the landfill. We're waiting for the DEP to hold Casella, hopefully the responsible party. That's the jargon, because he did so in Charlton. The DEP did so in Charlton, and he had to pay for the lines of that neighborhood. So, but I view it as, all of McGillicuddy doing it together, as opposed to a lot that is Phase 2, went to town meeting, they approved it at Apple Hill. We haven't done any approval on McGilpin. And I do think we'll probably get McGilpin residents saying, well, what the heck, can we try to get, and it opens up a Pandora's box. So for me, it truly wasn't, it's gonna fly, so it wasn't politics as usual. It's that it wasn't contemplated in our bylaws. And my other question, just so that it's out in the open, if we do get sewer or water along McGilpin, and I know it's down the road, but I just want to address that, and then the lines go right in front, which is the typical way,
I still have to pay.
is that lot going to, well, you may or may not, it's great if you stay in Sturbridge, but at that point, it's whatever, you may or may not live there anymore. are we going to see a situation where that lot on McGilpin now says, well, wait a minute, we already paid for the sewer hookup and privilege and maintaining that. We don't want to pay for it to go down in front of our house. And I don't know if I'll still be sitting here, but then my position's going to be, well, you have to, because
Everybody else.
sewer, it's a betterment, and the lines are going to go in front of the house. I can foresee whoever owns that piece of property not wanting to pay at that point if sewer ever goes on.
That's a good point. I
You know what I
honestly
mean?
did
I
not
just,
think of that.
they're not going to want to pay because they already paid through the backyard going the other way.
We could put
So
that
it
in.
is going to, present.
Be able to charge them.
The lot on,
Well, if the
the lot on
lines go, that's why you
McGilpin,
do it
did
neighborhood
that
by
pass the
neighborhood
perk
rather than
test?
piecemeal.
I bought it from Bob Audette, and I believe he said it didn't pass. So, and the reason, the option to wait for it to go down McGilpin, is an option, but who knows when that's gonna happen. My problem was, conservation is only good for 3 years. So, to get everything moving was kind of the thing, so.
Mr. Iot's tried to do this the right way. He's been through the Conservation Commission and the
Oh, I get it, he's doing,
Well,
he's not trying to pull it,
It's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, no medals for doing what you're supposed to do.
True.
Just don't veer, because you'll hear it.
Anything else from the board? Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve this request for sewer and water service for, am I going for 4 Apple Hill Road?
It's 411 McGilpin
I'm
Road.
sorry, 411 and 411 McGilpin Road, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Any discussion?
At this point, I'm not going to vote in favor of, I'm not going to vote against it either. I just didn't think our bylaws contemplated it, so I'm going to probably abstain from the vote.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? And 1 abstention. 3-1-1.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming in.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
All this paper that was so neatly piled. Okay, we have done everything on the agenda except for citizens forum. And does any citizen have anything they want to say?
I guess they're saying it to each other.
Yeah. Okay, is there a motion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Motion for air conditioning.
Are you